teaching you the basics that every beginning tuba player should know. First, we're going to talk about the assembly and disassembly of the instrument. Then we're going to talk about the maintenance of the tuba. Then we'll move on to the tone production, and then we'll learn our first 3 notes. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is the assembly of the instrument. Now, one thing as a tuba player you don't have to worry about is assembling pieces. The tuba is one big mass, so you will only have to insert your mouthpiece to the lead pipe. So this is what the tuba will look like when you're holding it upright. Then you're going to want to take your mouthpiece, this is my mouthpiece, and you're going to want to insert it into the lead pipe and give it a slight right turn. And that'll just ensure that it won't fall out when you play. And then to disassemble the instrument, you're just going to simply remove the mouthpiece, set it down, and then set your tuba down gently on the floor. The second thing we're going to be talking about today is how to maintain your instrument. You want to make sure that you're always taking the best quality care of your instrument. You want to keep it in tip-top shape. So the main thing with the tuba that you're going to want to take care of are the piston valves. If you have a different tuba, you might have rotary valves, which have the paddles. So to oil these valves, it's like oiling any other piston valve, and we'll get into that. Piston valve maintenance is one of the main things that you should regularly be taking care of. I would say oil them once a week, maybe more if you're having trouble with them. So let's get into it. The first thing you're going to need is your valve oil, and this is the one I brought with me. You can use any kind you want as long as it's made for the instrument. So you're going to unscrew the valve. So twist it until it becomes loose. You can see here when I move it, it will go up and down. That's the part you want to unscrew. And then you're going to remove the valve from the casing. Gently, you don't want anything crazy to happen. And then you're going to take your valve oil and unscrew the cap. And you're just going to place a few drops around the valve, making sure that any spot you're having trouble with will be covered. Okay. Now then, you're going to look for the valve guide, this white piece of plastic right here, and you're going to insert the valve and make sure that that casing is going into the indented part of the valve. It will move if it's in the right spot. It will move up and down, and then you're just going to screw that back on. And your valve is now back in its place. Then you will continue to do this for any valve that needs to be oiled so that you have valves that work. And now you can move on. Now you can move on to the next step. The next step of your maintenance routine will be oiling your slides to make sure that they're movable. So I'm going to be oiling my first slide for you right now. It is in pretty good shape, but let's just go ahead and do it anyway. So you're going to remove the slide, and when you remove it, you want to make sure that you're removing it the correct way. Don't be aggressive, just pull it right out, and make sure you always hold it the way you pulled it out. So I'm just going to come over here, over the top of my instrument. I'm actually going to set it down. Okay. So I haven't put this down. I'm still holding it the same way. If you need help, you might ask an adult, but this is a pretty simple process. Then I'm going to take my slide grease, okay? And I'm going to hold it in the same hand. And then I'm just going to take a little bit with my pointer finger. You can use any finger. And then I'm just going to spread that around. Okay. Trying to cover any spots that feel dry. Okay, almost done. I'm going to put my slide grease down. You can wipe your finger off if you need to. Then I'm going to pick my instrument back up, still having my slide in the hand that I grabbed it with. Okay, and I'm going to bring that back around and slide that in the same way I pulled it out. Okay, then I'm going to work it in a little bit, and you can see it's moving very nicely, very smooth. Make sure to remember that when you're moving the slide in and out, you always want to have that first valve pressed down if you're working on the first valve slide. If you're working on the third valve slide, then you would like to hold down your third valve. Same thing with your fourth valve, and then same thing with the second valve. Once you've taken care of piston valves and the slides, we can talk about a deep cleaning of the instrument. For a deep cleaning on the tuba, it would be very difficult to do yourself. You would need a big space, and you would definitely need an adult. So what I would recommend is taking it to a music shop, a local music store, or you can have your school possibly do that for you. But what I would do is take it into a music shop at least once a year, maybe once every 6 months, and that should keep your instrument in tip-top shape for your playing. Now that we've talked about the maintenance of your tuba, let's move on to tone production. Now, when we're using a tuba, we are going to have a fuller sound, and we're going to have to use a lot more air. So what I want to start with is just wind patterning into the horn. We want to make sure first that we're breathing correctly. We want to make sure that we're breathing low. So we want to make sure that we're taking in a nice deep breath before we play any notes. We're not going to use our lips for buzzing. We're just going to blow air into the horn to get a feel for what that's like. So let's take our tuba. And I just want you to take a deep breath in and then release your air for 4 beats, like this. That's going to give you a good feel for what it's like to release air into the horn without buzzing. After you've done that a few times and you kind of have gotten a good feel for what that's like, I want to introduce buzzing. By now we should probably know how to buzz, okay? Buzzing is like this. You want to have firm corners, and you want to make sure that there are no leaks in your buzz. So we're just going to put that on the mouthpiece. Let's put our mouthpiece back on our horn. We're going to now buzz instead of just releasing air. So it should go something like this. This is the sound we're looking for. So let's do that. Let's hold that for 4 beats. We're going to take a deep breath in, and then we're going to hold that note with a nice tone quality for 4 beats. Now I'm going to teach you your first 3 notes. So we're going to be learning F, E flat, and D. Okay? So what I want to do, I want you to pick your tuba up with your mouthpiece and your lead pipe. Okay? Tuning doesn't matter, just as long as you're using that nice tone and articulating with that do syllable. And what I want you to do is I want you to play an F. An F is going to be below the staff, right below the staff, the first note, okay? F is open position, no fingers will be down for this note. So this is what it should sound like. Our next note will be E flat. E flat will have the first valve down, and E flat is just a step away from F. So let's start on F, and then let's put our first finger down. Our last note that we'll be learning today is going to be D. When you're playing the note D, you'll have your first valve and your second valve down, okay? D is just one step away from E flat. So you'll be going open, first valve down, and then you'll have both your first and second valve down for D. Let's give that a try. Now, once you've learned those first 3 notes, you can continue learning more notes. You can go up or you can go down. But those are great starter notes for a beginner player. They're right in the middle of the range, and you shouldn't have too much trouble playing those notes. Now that this lesson is over and you've learned the beginning things that you need to know to be a tuba player, I hope that you always remember these basics, and I hope that you have a great, successful year in band.